Sergeant Glenn Foster from the Fitchburg Police Department. With me, Ralph Poland from SafetyNet, a division of LoJack, Ralph, and a new piece of equipment that's been with the police department for just a little while now, and some really great things happening. Just had a save down in the Boston area. Alzheimer's patients, those children with autism and similar medical conditions that may present a rescue risk for the police department. Ralph, tell us a little bit more about this.
Well, the SafetyNet program it's a radio frequency receiving tracking system as opposed to GPS or cell, where law enforcement and EMS can find people on this program literally within minutes, as opposed to the conventional search that law enforcement would go on, searching for somebody for hours, sometimes days, and sometimes not finding somebody. I brought the program to Marshfield, Mass. When I was on that department, and within the last almost year, we've had 4 search and rescues of people with Alzheimer's that are on this program. And I think the longest search took 2 officers, probably some in the area of 15 to 20 minutes.
Now we're going to simplify a few things for the purpose of time today, but we've got a demonstration right here with one of our patrol cars and our new police officers with us here today as well. So we're going to step right over to the marked police car, and you'll tell us just a little bit more about what we're looking at.
Sure. Okay, what we have here is what's called an Omni antenna. This antenna, when the call goes out or the 911 call comes in, the officers will attach this antenna to a receiver that they'll have with them that has that particular person's frequency and ID plugged into it. They'll proceed to the last known address of where this person was seen, and once they get there, they'll get a signal with this Omni antenna within a quarter of a mile. At that point, they'll switch the Omni antenna on the receiver to what's called a Yagi antenna, or a directional antenna. And that antenna will immediately eliminate about 180 degrees of search area for the officers.
So what will happen is we've just heard a simulation of that device pinging basically off of the receiver, the bracelet. And our officer, Antoine Tobin, is going to take us a little bit further on how we would now deploy the Yagi antenna.
31, 38, 25. I'm going down. 17. So. Strong signal coming from this way. 92, 99.
There you go. All right.
This is the search kit that we got from SafetyNet. Everything that we need is right inside that kit. It stays right outside the OIC's office. It's all locked up and it's plugged in so that the unit stays charged all the time. This is a quick reference guide in case the guys forget how to use it, so if somebody wanders. So inside the kit, there's things we use for training and then things they're going to use to search. First item, we'll just go one at a time. There's a omnidirectional antenna, and it goes on top of the cruiser, and it helps the officers. It gets the officers within a quarter-mile radius of the wanted party. This is called a Yagi antenna. It has a 1-mile radius, right? 1-mile search. For those of us old enough to remember, it looks an awful lot like rabbit ear antennas we had on the roof. And this is the receiver. As you can see, it's plugged in and it's fully charged. I guess the best way to explain it is if somebody wanders and we get a phone call from SafetyNet, and the way the system would work, the folks would call, let's just say it was an autistic child, and the parents called and the child had wandered. They'd call in and they'd give a description of their son or daughter, They'd say they were a SafetyNet member, and dispatchers have a yellow card, which I have in my training folder, and it's posted up in dispatch for a number for them to call, and also a login, and they can access the SafetyNet database. Within that database is identifying information, wandering history for the SafetyNet client. That information gets sent out to the officers that are working, and a photograph. Most importantly, it gets the radio frequency. If it's already been explained to you that this works on radio frequency technology, that frequency gets given out to the route officer who comes in here and grabs his kit and gets it up and running and ready to roll. He starts to head off in the direction in his cruiser, and he would first hook up the cruiser antenna. In the receiver, he would punch in the radio frequency, start driving in the direction where the child was last seen. He would pick up, hopefully he or she would pick up the radio frequency, a signal. He would park his cruiser where the signal was the strongest. He'd get out of the cruiser, he would then hook up the directional antenna onto the receiver, and then go through a series of steps within the process to narrow down the direction where the wanted party would be at. This is directional. This is omnidirectional, right? You don't know where the signal's coming from, and this is directional. And then there's a gain control and things like that. We won't get into the details, but it would narrow down that search. The receiver, the transmitters that are given out to the clients, this is what they look like. They have a wristband on them. I don't know, it's for a monthly fee, they get this transmitter and a band. It's tamper resistant. Every month they get a fresh battery. Battery gets installed inside there, and if you look inside here, it has an ID number. If for some reason, which I can't imagine, there were two people in the same geographic area that had the same radio frequency, there's an identification number inside there. We can tell who was who. Again, the battery gets replaced every month through SafetyNet, and it sends out a pulse with that radio frequency every second. So, and this is attested that the parents would have with an autistic child, or a spouse with somebody with Alzheimer's. And if you can see the red light pulsing, it shows a pulse for that radio frequency every second. And it's that pulse that the receiver would be picking up on and helping the officers locate the wanted party.